My name is Anya Murphy, just to say hello to everybody. I'm the marketing manager with Bike to Work on HubX. So on the call with us today doing the presentations, we have Paul Norton, who's the account manager with HubX, and we have Dillon Ryan from GreenAer, who's going to be talking about the GreenAer bikes, the electric bikes, and the different types that are available. So right at the very end of the presentations, then we'll have a Q&A session for any questions that people may have. And then, of course, we'll have that amazing giveaway that courtesy of GreenAer for the €500 voucher towards a bike. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Anya. Thanks a million. Yeah, guys, I'm just going to go through a few slides today about cycling and e-bikes in general, and also some of the benefits. So some of the topics that I'm going to cover today will be the benefits of cycling in general, and sustainability, some of the barriers to entry that people commonly have when it comes to taking up cycling, the Bike to Work scheme, and then I'll hand you over to Dillon, who will talk more specifically about the different types of e-bikes that GreenAer have to offer. So in terms of the benefits, first of all, everyone will probably agree that it has cycling and it will have great physical health benefits. E-bike specifically is a great form of exercise, but also with kind of really low impact on your joints and on your muscles. It will improve your cardiovascular fitness, your muscle strength. A great way to lose weight. If you're cycling for an hour at a moderate pace, you're going to burn anywhere from kind of 500 to 600 calories. It'll improve your lung health and reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, and other illnesses. So other positive benefits. E-bikes are great for people who need physical activity but might be physically compromised. So if they have difficulty with cycling a regular bike, or it's just too strenuous, then an e-bike is a great alternative. Cycling in general is going to increase blood flow to your brain, which means you're less vulnerable to things like dementia and depression, any of these kind of mental disorders. It will drastically reduce that risk. With cycling and e-bikes in general, as I mentioned, there's less muscle strain, less stress on the heart. With e-bikes, you can ride faster regardless of your fitness level. So if you're out with a group of cyclists who might be more fitter than you, then it's a great way to kind of keep up with them and have a good social group ride with them. E-bikes make it easier to go uphill faster.
Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. Are you moving on the slides there?
I'm not yet, no.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thanks.
Can you see me moving on the slides?
No, not at the moment.
Oh, sorry. I may have shared the wrong screen. Sorry about that, folks. What I might just do is share my entire screen, which might be better. Apologies for that. Can you see the slides moving there now, Anya?
Yeah, we can see that now.
My apologies, guys. So I was just actually on this about to finish this slide here, speaking about e-bike, how it's easier to ride uphill faster with less effort into headwinds, things like that. It's also a great means of transport into work if you don't want to get too sweaty and there mightn't be showers available in work, so it's a great alternative to that. Another benefit of cycling or taking an e-bike is you're going to save time when compared to driving into work. So on average, there was a study done by UCD which showed you're going to save in the region of about 3 days a year if you cycled every day into work versus taking the car. So the study took different cyclists or different people who cycled into work, and then over a period of time drove into work. They compared the results and came up with an average. And as you can see, in every case, cycling was considerably quicker than taking the car. So in the example I used for, say, looping into the city centre, which saves about 10 minutes in one way, so say 20 minutes on a return journey, that will actually add up to 3.5 days a year if you cycled every day. Even if you only cycled 3 months of the summer months, you're still going to save an extra day. So if anyone came to you and said you want an extra day's holidays or an extra 3 days holidays, you'd probably jump at the chance. Sustainability, definitely cycling is a greener form of transport. It's probably the greenest if you compare it to the likes of even public transport, but especially taking your own private car. So cycling instead of driving will reduce your carbon footprint, and the emissions that you're going to create, as you can see from the graphic below, is far less. Only 2 grams of CO2 per kilometer traveled. Another great statistic there, which is a study that was undertaken by Trek Bicycle Company in the US. They looked at the average of what it took to produce a bicycle in terms of the CO2 output. And their findings showed that if you cycle 430 miles, or let's say convert that to kilometers, maybe around, let's say 800 kilometers, once you've cycled that distance where you would have otherwise driven, you're going to offset the carbon footprint that it took to produce your bike. So 800 kilometers, while it might sound a lot, if you break that down into a weekly figure, even over the summer months, it's only about 20 kilometers a week. So not that much when you break it down. Ireland also were the first EU member state to meet the ECF, or the European Cycling Federation, recommendation of investing at least 10% of their national transport budget into cycling. Last year, that figure was 240 million. This year, it's actually increased again to 360 million, or nearly 1 million euros per day allocated to cycling and walking infrastructure. Some of the barriers to entry and some of the main reasons we have heard from people as a reasons not to take up cycling or cycle into work are things like safety and weather. They'd be the top 2. Other things would be like security, distance. So I'm just going to run through these and kind of break down and the mitigating factors against these. So safety definitely is a big concern, and it's definitely the top concern people have when it comes to not cycling into work or taking up cycling in general. However, when you look at the statistics over a period of maybe 20 or 30 years, the fatality rate has considerably dropped from a peak of 46 in 1990 to a low of 8 in 2019. And that's despite a drastic increased numbers of people cycling on the roads. So as the numbers have gone up in terms of participation, the fatality rate has dramatically decreased. So this might be due to things like better infrastructure, greater safety in numbers, better awareness by motorists. We've all seen the RSA safety campaigns and things like that. So, there's never been really a safer time to cycle. And with the increased budget in cycling infrastructure that the government have and their plans, it's only set to get even safer for people. Weather is the second on the list when it comes to reasons for people not commuting or using the bike. However, this is actually a misnomer. If you cycle every single day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 at peak times, you've only a 13% chance of actually getting rained on. And also, it rains a lot more in Amsterdam than it does in Dublin. And just look at the amount of cyclists that are there. So it's you don't get rained on as much as you first think. Specific safety around e-bikes. So these were some questions that we were asked or consulted with the likes of GreenAer. So things like the setting that you have your e-bike on when starting off. There's various different levels of power that you can set the bike up at. So it would be recommended that you don't stick it on the turbo power straight off the gate, as you will accelerate quite quickly away from the line. You are going to be traveling at a slightly higher speed, and you can get up to that 25 kilometers per hour relatively quickly. So you do need to be aware of that and aware of maybe slightly more vigilant than slower cyclists. To know the range of your e-bike. So depending on what setting you're using on your e-bike, it's going to dramatically have an effect on the range. So probably the slow or the shortest range is going to be around the 50 kilometer mark. As Dillon will explain later, some e-bikes will have a larger range, maybe even up to over 100 kilometers, depending on the setting you're using. You're obviously traveling at a higher speed, and an e-bike is going to be heavier than a regular bike as well. So you're going to need to be aware of your braking distance. Now, all of the e-bikes are going to be set up with, good quality hydraulic disc brakes, so they're going to stop you quite quickly. But it's definitely something to be more aware of. And then just another little question that was asked that I didn't actually think of myself was, is it okay to ride an e-bike in the rain? So the answer is yes, absolutely perfectly fine. Your battery, all the mechanisms and motors are sealed and will have a waterproof rating on them. But like with any bike, it's not recommended to keep it out in the weather. If you're going to keep it outside, make sure it's under a waterproof cover. Security, definitely a concern for people, especially in urban areas like Dublin, where theft would be of a higher risk. How to mitigate against this is how you lock your bike, what you lock your bike with, and where you lock your bike. And so definitely, if you have an underground facility in work, at home, with something with a cage that's going to be quite secure, is preferable. If you have to lock it out on the street, for instance, try and lock it in the correct way as the graphics on the bottom show. So the best way would be to use two locks, where you can kind of secure your bike from two different points, and not to lock it like you see in the other two graphics, where the bike can be easily kind of lifted and the lock can be kind of manipulated by lifting the bike and twisting it as such. In terms of the lock you purchase, they will all, or most locks will have a independent rating put on them, and this company is known as Sole Secure. So they'll have bronze, silver, gold, diamond rated locks. So if you can kind of get at least a gold rated lock, that would kind of run at about €50 upwards. Try and do that. If you're looking to get insurance as well, there's a couple of different insurance companies on the market that will insure your bike. They will require you to get a lock of a certain standard depending on the value of your bike. And then distance, again, we hear this quite a bit about, oh, I live too far away. Obviously with an e-bike, straight away, that should be a mitigating factor against the distance issue people have. So you're going to be able to cycle longer and further with greater ease with an e-bike. The graphic there shows the average time that it would take. So anyone to travel into the city centre of Dublin. So if you're living within the M50 corridor, let's say, as an example, you should be able to reach the city centre within kind of a 30-minute period. And that's at a moderate speed of about 20 kilometers per hour. A lot of the e-bikes will take you up to 25 kilometers per hour quite easily. So yeah, and again, I'm quite aware that this is just an example for Dublin. Other maps exist like this for other cities and towns around Ireland as well. Just a couple of points then on the Bike to Work scheme. So for this presentation, the most relevant price here would be the €1,500, which you can avail for an e-bike on the Bike to Work scheme. The general bike is a maximum of $1,250. You can expect to save anywhere between 31 and 51%, and that will just vary depending on how much you earn, how much tax you pay, various other tax credits you might have. But in general terms, that's the range you can expect to save between. With Bike to Work Limited, you have a range of lots of different partner stores, one of which is GreenAer, who, in my opinion, will probably be the best or the leading shop in Ireland when it comes to e-bikes. You know, that's what they specialize in, and they would be our go-to when it comes to e-bike specialists. So with that, I'll hand you over to Dillon now, and Dillon will talk you through some different e-bikes that GreenAer can supply.
Yeah, thanks a million for that, Paul. Yeah, I think you gave a great introduction really to e-bikes, what they do and what they're really capable of doing. So just give ourselves like a small introduction. My name is Dillon and I'm the sales manager here at GreenAer. We were set up 12 years ago in a little small store in Pearse Street, and we only ever did electric bikes. And obviously the first couple of years were quite slow, and over the last kind of 4 years we've noticed a huge growth in the market, and since we've obviously opened up another store in Muller and in Cork, and only a few weeks ago we opened up our new kind of flagship store here in Sandyford. So that's where I'm based now at the minute. But yeah, that's really us as an introduction. So yeah, Paul, we just want to go on to the next slide. I'll just talk through a few kind of different bikes that we do, and something that's the kind of most popular bikes with us at the minute. So the first one would be, I guess it's a bit different kind of to what people would think of it when they think of an electric bike. So this is an electric cargo bike, and it's something that we've really seen a huge growth in the last couple of years. So this one here is the Riese Muller cargo bike. It's called a Load 75. So it's capable of carrying up to 3 children and a rider. You could even put a 4th small child on a child seat at the rear if you needed to, depending obviously on your needs. We really kind of, when customers come looking at these, we really try and think of them, kind of get the customer to change their mindset of not maybe needing their second car for every journey. Because there's a few studies done around the South Dublin suburbs, and it's over 90% of journeys are less than 5 kilometers. And with the likes of the cargo bikes, they're perfect for distances anywhere up to kind of 15, 20 kilometers. So all those short journeys, it makes much more sense to use something like this, where you can put the 3 children into the front of it. They're completely concealed from the elements, and you just need to worry about yourself. And as Paul said, if you're even commuting to work, you've 13% chance of getting rained on anyway. But yeah, something like this, it's Riese Muller, they're a German brand, and it's coming with the full Bosch motor and battery. So it comes with Bosch's top motor, it's 85 Newton meters of torque, and then yeah, obviously capable of carrying 3 children, and it has front and rear suspension, so it is super comfortable. And everything on this bike is kind of built around maintenance free, so very, very low maintenance, like required to keep the bike running, so like a belt drive as opposed to a chain of cassette. And there's all the different options like that are built into the bike to kind of make it as good as possible and to last as long as possible in the elements. But yeah, then we can move on to the next bike. So once again, it's another German brand, Hercules. So this is the Rob Fold F8. And it's a very simple bike in the fact it'll fold in the middle and the handlebars will fold in as well. So if you need to bring the bike into your office, so you might be unsure about security or whatever, but like this bike will fit under your desk. So maybe if you've maybe a commute of 5-10 kilometers, or you can get to Lewis half of the way, but you need to cycle another little bit. It's a really handy bike because it will fold in 10 seconds. You can bring it on the Lewis with you, hop off, get back up, unfold it, ready to go, and then you can start cycling. It has nice small wheels, so it's going to be nice and compact. So for those shorter journeys, those shorter commutes, it is perfect. And once again, it's coming with the Bosch Active Line Plus motor, and it has a 400 watt hour battery. So even range wise and something like this, you'll still get about 50 to 60 kilometers, no problem out of it. And yeah, that's that. Then the next one is probably one of our most popular bikes at the minute. It's the Moustache Samedi 28.2. So yeah, it's a French brand, and they're iconic for having their mustache-shaped handlebars. So it's a real kind of upright Dutch-style riding bike. And once again, coming with a full Bosch motor, like super reliable. You've nothing, like maintenance on them once again is super low. And real, like everything is designed around comfort of this bike with the handlebars. It has front suspension, has suspension as seat post, and then yeah, like the tires, they're like a slightly wider tire as well, so it is much more comfortable for cycling. And yeah, like if you commute of 15, 20, 30 kilometers even, it would be no problem at all. Yeah. And then the next bike, Paul.
Have you got that there down, the Haibike? Can you see that okay?
No, it's not coming up on mine for some reason. No, it's still on the Moustache.
Is it? Oh.
I can see it on my side.
Maybe
I can see it here through the Haibike.
Yeah.
I can go and present it anyway. But yeah, so the Haibike then, the Trekking 7. So this is a very unique bike in the fact it's once again, it's a Haibike, it's a German brand, but it's coming with a Yamaha motor and battery. Yamaha wouldn't be as well known in the market, I'd say, as Bosch, but it's been a brand that we've worked with for years, and a lot of people who test out both the Yamaha and the Bosch motors would actually prefer the Yamaha because it's a lot more torquey, and on the hills it would help a lot better. It'll give a lot more assistance. The main kind of point about this particular bike though is the 630 watt hour Yamaha battery. Even in a high enough level of assistance, you'd still be getting around 120 kilometers of range. So if you have that kind of longer commute, like some of our customers that have a commute that's like 35, 40 kilometers, so they'd be doing 80 kilometers of a round trip in a day. You do need obviously something with that bigger battery kind of, and you're not going to have any range anxiety or anything like that. So yeah, that will get you through your commute, no problem. Once again, with all these bikes we do as well, they all have a removable battery. So if you do get to work, maybe a lot of people would commute with panniers. They'll put the charger into the pannier, and then once they get to work, they can take their battery out, plug it in at the desk beside them, and charge the battery up, so it is always fully charged. So that's obviously another kind of benefit to have. Once again, yeah, another kind of feature with this bike is the much wider balloon tires. It leaves it much more comfortable and stable for cycling. And a lot of people they're usually quite hesitant of it at the start, because they think it would cause a lot more drag and won't be as efficient on the road. But because of that powerful motor, it's kind of offset because of that, so it doesn't actually affect anything, and it will just leave it a lot more comfortable for cycling. And then yeah, last bike then is the Orbea Vibe H30. So the Orbea, it's a Spanish brand. It's the lightest e-bike that we do by quite a lot. So it is only weighing 15 kilos, which there's a good few kind of regular road bikes out there that would be over 15 kilos even. So this has a rear hub motor, and it's the e-bike motion system. So it's been a motor we've worked with for years, and we never have any issues with them at all. They are super reliable. And then the battery is actually built into the down tube on the frame. So the range on it would be a little bit less than kind of the other bikes. Most people get around 40 to 50 kilometers out of it, but it is really handy for the kind of people who they come from quite a good cycling background, but maybe they want to get to work and they don't want to be kind of sweating. They want to be able to just get in and have that little bit of assistance that kind of gets them over the hills, gets them through the wind without breaking a sweat, and they're in work ready to go then. Yeah, like obviously there's no suspension on this or anything, so it is quite a rigid bike to cycle, but it is still very comfortable because it has like slightly wider tire and nicer handlebars and everything like that. But yeah, that's one of our most popular bikes at the minute now for people who are commuting. Like if you commute of kind of like 15-20 kilometers, it's a fantastic bike for that. And then yeah, that's really it. Thanks for all listening.
Great, thanks for that, Dillon. That was great. We have quite a few questions coming through on the chat there, and I'll start with Emma's question, if I could, to either Paul or Dillon. She's asking about e-trikes, just in terms of having a bit more confidence on, more so than being on two wheels, I suppose. What's your thoughts there, Dillon, on e-trikes?
Yeah, we do them now in our Muller store. We actually have one that can be trialed out. They are obviously a lot more stable, but as a result of them also being trikes, they're a lot wider and they're a bit harder to navigate. So for a 25-kilometer commute, they wouldn't be the most efficient bike, but if it was something you needed, you'd be able to be used, no problem at all. We have them in our Mullingar store as well. So if you did want to get in touch with those guys down there, they'd be more than happy to help you out and facilitate in a trial.
Brilliant. A question in from Alec then. Are batteries replaceable on e-bikes if they start to lose their charge?
Yeah, they are. So most of the bikes that we do would be kind of either Yamaha or Bosch. All those batteries, they're easily removable. You can take them out, obviously charge them up whenever you need. You can charge them on the bikes either as well if you need it. But we do expect people to get on average between 8 and 10 years out of the batteries. But they are easily replaceable then. Bosch vowed to make parts for 10 years after they actually stop producing the product. So even if they stop producing a certain type of battery tomorrow, for 10 years, you'd still be able to buy a replacement battery from them for that.
Cool. And then Carlo is asking, what's the average battery lifetime?
Yeah, so on average, we're seeing people getting around about between 8 and 10 years out of the battery. What they will notice is the battery capacity drops on average about 4 to 5% per year, just because it's a lithium-ion battery. So what we'll notice is maybe someone who's getting 80 kilometers of range out of a battery at the start, after maybe that kind of 8-10 years, their range is down to kind of like 30-35 kilometers, and it's just not enough for them anymore. So yeah, obviously you can go and buy a new battery and then put it into the bike and you'll be back up to your 80 kilometers range that you were initially at. But you do need to bear in mind as well, the batteries are the more expensive parts of the bike. That's why there's a lot of kind of cheaper e-bikes on the market that would become with a kind of spurious battery that the range on it is not going to be good, the capacity on it won't be good, and it just won't last as long. So yeah, the battery is the more expensive part of the bike, so it isn't something that you would want to be replacing regularly anyway. And also, all the batteries we do as well, they come with a 2-year warranty.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, as an e-bike user myself, there are some tricks that you can do to get longer out of your battery, right?
Of course, yeah. So like even simple stuff of not leaving the battery like below 3 degrees at night. So maybe a lot of people might have to park their bike outside or whatnot, but if you even just take the battery in, if it's going to be freezing cold that night, it's well worth bringing it in, kind of just keep it, not let it get exposed to the elements really. But yeah, it's no harm using it in those colder conditions, but just leaving up for a long time in those cold conditions, it can damage the cells in them.
And the other one I heard was that you don't leave it to charge to 100%.
All our batteries, it's no problem using power chargers on them, especially on the Bosch and Yamaha ones.
Okay, I have a couple of other quick questions here. So Ash is asking if there's any special rules or recommendations for carrying children when using the e-bikes.
There isn't in particular, no. A lot of our customers now, they will kind of just, so all like that cargo bike that I showed you at the start, that has a 5-point harness in it for each child. So they're well strapped in, and then a lot of people will kind of put helmets on their kids as well, just as an added layer of security. But even that bike I showed you, there's a steel casing around it, so the kids are very secure in there.
Okay, and I'll just one more because we're kind of running out of time. Can you turn off the e-bike part when you don't need it? Is another question from Sandra.
Yeah, you can. All our bikes come with 5 different levels of assistance. So you have Turbo, Sport, Tour, Eco, and then you can have it off. So the bike can be completely switched off with no assistance. And yeah, it'll work just like a kind of a heavier regular bike, because obviously you have that motor, but you can still use them with no assistance at all.
Great. Okay. And I'm just conscious that people are having to leave because we did say it would only be the half hour. So we need to do the draw. Una Hennigan, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm here.
Una, you are absolutely, we're delighted to tell you that you are the winner of the €500 voucher. And thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, that's great. I was just telling my teammates, maybe I'll go on to this meeting and see if I can win a voucher. Great news. Thank you very much.
With the e-bikes.
Congratulations.
Well.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Very good. We'll get in touch afterwards,
Would you
Una.
be able to share the slides as well with all the different e-bikes on it?
Yep, I will be sharing the whole presentation after the event.
All our bikes
Perfect.
as well can be viewed up on our website. It's just www.greenaer.ie.
Yeah, and we'll include all the contact details for GreenAer as well. Okay. Okay, well, that's it, everybody. Thank you to Paul and to Dillon for today. Thank you to everybody for joining us. We hope that you got an awful lot out of that. If there's any questions that you have for either of the guys after the event, please email us. The emails are on screen there. And as we just said, I will be sending out the presentation to everybody who was registered. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for today. Thanks and goodbye.
Thanks.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.